It's not the problem. The problem is not with the harvest. Because really, harvest is plenteous. All these people had the harvest. But the laborers, the shepherds, are few. The laborers are few. That's why I tell my people in our church that it is ignorance, it is a demonstration of ignorance to pray for revival. You don't pray for revival. Revival is plenteous. Harvest is plenteous. So what do you pray for? Insight, understanding, for people who are supposed to be shepherds and laborers, for them, for their eyes to be opened, for them to see their primary assignments, and for them to be able to come forth. So God began to give me understanding, listen closely, that really your old church are those shepherds, not you. You are fivefold minister. You as the fivefold minister, you are supposed to view all your church members as pastors to the city. To those people who are scattered without shepherds. You send shepherds out of the church to meet the scattered sheep. So, according to our religious understanding, mindset, we think that the place of the shepherd is in the building. But he said, these sheep are where they are supposed to be. They are in the right places. But they are scattered. They are supposed to be in the field. The sheep are supposed to be in the field. But they are in the field. The shepherd is supposed to be with them in the field. So God was telling me the place where the city is supposed to be pastored, you will never get all the city to come to your church. Forget. If you get the whole of Sydney to be full of church buildings, it will never take enough people. But that is not the idea of God. All the people who come to the church, they are the people we are supposed to train to be on field shepherds to the people God has sent them to. Are you listening to me? So the people are scattered because the people who are supposed to shepherd them, who are supposed to take care of them, they are not even aware of it. They just come to church to do God's service. God doesn't need your service in the church. He needs your service out there. Then your ministry begins out there. The reason you come to church on Sundays is to get you trained for your ministry outside of the church. And you are a pastor because you are a God carrier. You have the kingdom in you. You have the Savior in you. And God says, you see, Jesus did not see and did not call all the multitude goats. The reason he didn't call them goats, he had the right understanding. As soon as you see them as unbelievers and you call them unbelievers, you put down a wall between you, the church. We are the saved. We are the Christians. And these are all unsaved people. You put out a wall between the church and the world. And that's what we've done. But if you look at them as your brothers and sisters, God called them sheep. And sheep are actually supposed to be the saved people. So God is calling them potential members, potential saved people. Potentially, they are all supposed to be saved because Jesus had paid the price for their salvation. But they cannot be saved because they have to receive him into their hearts. They've got to be born again, but they cannot be born again. That's why they are scattered, because the guys who are supposed to go and meet them and tell them the truth and shepherd them, shepherding is not preaching, shepherding is taking care of. So you say, I cannot preach like Pastor Phil. I cannot. You don't need to. Oh, now you got it all wrong. Just go and take care. What does a shepherd do? Take care. Love them. Go and love them for Jesus. Go and release the love of Jesus to them. Go and touch them. Anyway, to cut a long story short, Now you understand why I say revival is no problem. That's why in our church we don't do evangelism. We don't do outreach. Everybody just knows what they're supposed to do. They know job is not their primary calling. Money, rubbish. Just the compensation for their labor. Well, who are they? They are God's agents, God's servants, kingdom carriers primarily. They are here to live for the kingdom. That's what it says. Seek ye first the kingdom. Seek ye first the advancement of the kingdom. That is what they are all about. That is what their life is all about. Seek ye first. That's what you are all about seeking. You getting me? So that's their whole life primarily. And because they know that's their whole life primarily, and all our people are in every sphere of life, and they are all pastoring where they are. Can you imagine why we had we are just 12 years as a church. We had 2 million people come with them. 2 million people with their feet to the church. And all the pastors in the city are telling me, what do we do? People are not getting saved. We are for a whole year, nobody getting saved. We are having another problem. I don't know what to do with all the people getting saved. Because we taught the people the right thing, the right mindset. You understand what we're talking about? So, the message again, you remember the title of this message? When the kingdom of God lives where? The church. It is fantastic what happens. That is why we had 2 million people. Because all our people, every one of them is seeing himself as a pastor. He's not calling himself a pastor, but he's seeing that he's in church. So the reason he comes to church to pray is for his territory, where he's responsible for. The reason he takes 1 day or 2 days a week to fast is for the people he's supposed to take care of, you say. The reason he goes to study in the Bible school or to learn some skills is to be able to communicate God better to the people he's responsible for. So church makes sense. Unlike when you're just coming, you come for 10 years, you are afraid that you still have 20 more years to live. You just be coming every Sunday for 20 years. That's why people run from one church to the other. It's boring. It kills you. Just to come one church, to come every Sunday, doing the same thing, it's a hell. That is why my assignment to my people, I tell them, is to get rid of you. That's my assignment. To get them out of them pews. I must get them out of them pews. Nobody has a calling to sit in the pews. There is no calling like that in the Bible. The only calling we have is to go. Everybody. So when the kingdom leaves the church, what happens? Mass salvation. So in our city, in our country, everybody is afraid of me. Because they think I'm using black magic. Because even the president doesn't have the influence he has on people. Because nobody can gather so many people all the time, regularly. They think it's black magic. It is kingdom magic. Kingdom magic. All right? Kingdom magic. Because our people are so effective everywhere and they are well taught, we are only 25,000 people in Kyiv. They feel that we are actually 5 million. But really, people who call themselves part of us, we don't count them. They're actually like 250,000 just in our city. Because they've been there, they've been around, they've been ministered to, they have been pastored by our people all over. So the church becomes the church without walls. And the people who are in the church are only the ones you are training to be laborers. Are you listening to me? So that is one thing. Then I began to teach our people the 7 spheres of influence so that I could help them to identify where they are, where they're supposed to be in. I said the spiritual aspect and the social aspect of life. The spiritual aspect is what it be: Bible schools, preachers, pastors. Everybody wants to be a pastor because that is the only thing we are emphasizing. But when we begin to emphasize other things, people don't want to be pastors when they are not called again. They know They have their own territory, you see. So when we began to preach that, the people who see themselves as full-time ministers, as pastors, they began to leave. They don't want to be with me in the church and compete with me and kill me and want to split my church out. They are no more interested. They want to be fulfilled in their own field. So in 12 years, we never had a split of church. Not a single split. Because before you even think of doing another church, I've already released you to go. Because that is my whole agenda. I want to get rid of you. So you know your own calling is to become a preacher like me. Let me help you, sponsor you for a year, give you a territory, make you become who you want to become. So that's why we've been able to start 450 churches in the last 10 years. But apart from that, you see, we also have social needs of the society, like alcoholics, drug addicts, people having issues, women issues, abortion, children, homeless kids, orphanages. Those are any kind of social problems you could think about. We have about 400 of them. So anything that could come to the mind of people, anything that is a problem in the life of people. So I call for people and I tell them, come with your own burden. Where do you feel a burden? What do you feel a burden for? Some people feel a burden for drug addicts, for women. So I said, let's form a platform for it. Don't just go and minister to drug addicts without you are nobody. No, let's make you the director of the Sydney City Drug Rehabilitation Center. You are going to be the director, big guy. So I'm not just the big guy in the church. You are also a king. I'm not just the only big shot. All of you are big guys. So I encourage them to go and form their own platform and register it with the government. And what happens is, because the guys are really doing the real job, they have the burden. The guy was doing medicine before. He was a medical doctor before. But now she discovered, no, I'm supposed to minister to drug addicts. So he forms an organization. Anyway, to cut a long story short, those kind of social organizations, we have 3,000 of them. Can you imagine 3,000 organizations under one church? All over the country, and under one church, about 300. Where you know what that means? It's a whole team of people working with them. They have their own leadership. Everything that I've done in the church, like leadership teams, training, raising up people. Then those, because they are not church, they are like you could call it anything like women's group, women's pressure group, youth pressure group, and those people are not coming like the church. They become a voice in the society. So they are everywhere talking, but carrying the principles of the kingdom. So the government listens to them. The social groups listen to them. The what do you call those? The workers organizations, unions listen to them. But they are coming actually from me. It is me. But they are everywhere, you see. So we have 3,000 of those. Just rehabilitation centers, 300 of those. Just orphanages, 50 of them. And none of them are registered with the government. So that is just one direction. Then let's take politics. Politics, I started preaching that is just one sphere of influence. You don't feel you are supposed to minister to the needy. You feel a calling to politics. Go and join existing churches. Existing political parties. But also, let's form our own parties. So we have 3 political parties just coming from my church. And others in existing parties. So everybody that is feeling called to the politics is fulfilling it. We have schools for all these spheres of life. So in the last election, we had 48 candidates running for the mayor, to be the mayor of Kiev. That is a city like Sydney, 4 million people, 48. And we had 2 from the church. And one of them became the mayor. My member that I raised up for 10 years is now the mayor of the city of Kiev. Because of these teachings. Before, he was just saying, no, I'm not a politician. I'm called to be a businessman. I'm just doing business. But they had the burden. I teach them how to recognize your call. Whatever you have a passion for, and whatever is annoying you, you think these people are not doing it right. You are getting annoyed. Don't just whine and complain. It means you have a burden for it. It means God is calling you to do something about that. So that is another. I will come back next time and teach you how to recognize your. So anyway, that is just another aspect. Number two, let's take education, for example. We have people who have written programs for high schools on ethics and morality. We didn't have any program like that before. Now the Ministry of Education of the whole country has adopted this program, that a girl that didn't finish high school, she finished only 7th grade. She became a drug addict when she was in 7th grade. She became pregnant. She became a drug addict prostitute. But when she came to church, she said, I will never become anything. I was a prostitute, drug addict. I never even finished high school. Oh, I can never become anybody. But because she kept on listening to me for 6 years, she listened to me. She went back to high school with her daughter, but evening classes. She finished the evening classes, went to the university, and now she wrote a brilliant program that is adopted by the Ministry of Education for all high schools on how to prevent immorality. That is when when the kingdom leaves the pews, when the kingdom leaves the church. That is just one example. Another guy, we noticed that we have men's ministry in the church, and all the problems in the society is connected with lack of manhood. And we noticed that in the Ministry of Education of our country and in all the schools, there is no program on manhood teaching. In Australia too, you don't have it. Nothing, no government program teaching men how to be men. You have classes on how to be professors, how to be, businessmen, how to be doctors, but you don't have, no country has program on how to become a man, on how to become a mother, on how to become a woman, on how to become mothers, and how to raise up children. Nobody has. So we discovered that in the Ukraine, and the people who had the burden for that came together, and we formed an institute called the Institute of Family and Fatherhood. So the program that we worked out on how to raise up children, on how to take care of pregnancy, on how to grow from pregnancy to what age, from pregnancy, from marriage, from dating to marriage to pregnancy, till a child gets to 30 years old, on how to become father, mother, marriage, everything. It's an whole institute. That whole program was presented to the government. They bought into it. They began to pay all our workers in that school, and the government is sponsoring everything right now because of the kingdom leaving the pews. My time is up. I'm sorry, there are 7 spheres of influence, but those are 3. I will continue after the next service. God bless you.